What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel. He's Andrew Destin. I am Noah Hiles. Once again, we're coming to you live from sunny, beautiful Bradenton, Florida for Day 6 of Pirates Spring Training 2025. Andrew, first full workout. Not just pitchers and catchers anymore. All the position players showed up as well. Got a lot to talk about, and I think we'll start with the guy who showed up yesterday. Got a chance to talk to him this morning, and he made a pretty big statement. That's Tommy Pham.
Yeah, made a big statement with one big swing off of Braxton Ashcraft during live batting practice. That was certainly impressive. You know, he take a quote from Bull Durham announcing your presence with authority. But what really stood out to me, too, was the conversation we had with him. Tommy Pham, you hear all sorts of various things about him. He was direct, he was up front, he was forthright with us, and talked about how last year really was a struggle for him defensively, but it seems to be that he thinks he can be a lot better this year.
Yeah, and the way that's going to happen in Pham's eyes is just by better alignment.
Yeah.
He talked about how last year the defensive metrics weren't favorable because of his positioning. He was playing a little deeper, which prevented him from being able to steal a lot of, dropping fly balls, I should say, dying fly balls. And he's been a guy who's always played shallow. And if you look at the defensive metrics, which I'm sure will be in Andrew's story, they improved when he was traded to Kansas City. He started playing more shallow like he's used to, and that allows him to run back on the ball, make some big plays, and also be shallow enough where he can use his arm to throw guys out who are trying to take an extra base, come in and take something that's fading down and maybe steal a single, save a run or two.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch how this all plays out, because we know with him playing left field, that's arguably the biggest part of the ballpark at PNC Park. A lot of space to cover, but if that's the plan in the interim, we'll find out certainly in the weeks and months ahead how exactly they plan to utilize him in that regard, but it's going to be a storyline to monitor for sure.
Yeah, and that's something that I'm sure you and I will talk to him more about, is the idea of playing shallow and left, because that is the deepest part of the park. But then again, this guy's played a lot of games at that spot in the ballpark, right? I mean, he came up in the NL Central, so with St. Louis, he saw some time there. He's been around to different teams. I mean, he's been in the league for more than a decade now, so I'm sure he's familiar with how to play that spot out in left field, but making it his everyday home, still going to be a little bit of a challenge. What do you got for key number 2?
Yeah, I think we got to go to Jared Jones next. We saw him throw live batting practice for the first time today. He had a bullpen session the other day that, frankly wasn't quite up to speed for what he's capable of. You could tell there was some visible frustration from Jared afterwards. But today, a lot crisper, looked a lot sharper. I don't know, you saw all of it in its entirety about Jared Jones' bullpen session. What was your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, my big takeaway was it was a lot better. And that's just going off of Jared's body language, like Andrew pointed out. His first bullpen was on Friday, Valentine's Day, and there was noted frustration with him. And I don't think that's a frustration where he felt that he wasn't in shape or anything. It's just, and I talked to Derek Shelton about this after the workday ended. Jared's a guy who's very results driven. He is in a great mood when his team wins. He's in a bad mood when his team loses. He's in a bad mood when he doesn't pitch well, and when he pitches well, he's walking around the clubhouse and no one has a bigger smile. That's just the type of competitor he is. And that first bullpen was tough for him because they're really working on him developing that third pitch. Seeing a little bit of a curveball, but more a secondary fastball. Was that... I'm asking the catcher here. Was that more splitter or two-seamer? What are you looking at here?
More two-seamer. That's what I was kind of looking at there. And I think it's an important pitch. I'm sure we'll get to talking to Jared Jones about this at some point here. But with him, right, he's had the changeups, he's had the curveball. Neither of those pitches has been used more than, I want to say off the top of my head, more than in 5% of times in games.
Yeah.
The two-seamer is a good one for him because think about it. The fastball that he has, natural upward tilt to it, and the slider, it's breaking down and in on lefties and away to righties. You need to have a pitch that can run away against lefties, that can run in on righties. I think the two-seamer could very much be that kind of pitch for him. The splitter could be another one that he eventually adds to the mix, but as of right now, it looks like he's incorporating a two-seam, which that is noteworthy to monitor for sure with Jared.
And even on the note, today was a good day for him. I'm sure there are going to be some struggles because, again, when you have to teach a young guy that you've got to drill it over and over again, there's going to be frustrations. This is the time for those frustrations to surface. You would rather him go through the growing pains, the frustrations now, because you know what you're getting with the four-seamer. You know what you're getting with the slider. If you don't, go and watch that highlight against the Brewers. What was that, Bryce Terang? Yeah, go ahead and watch that. That's what you're getting with the slider with this guy, and the fastball velocity we all know about, or we all are well aware of it. So that's the primary focus for him, and it was nice to see him gain some confidence in that and recognize that, this is going to be a long process, but it's something that if he commits to it and he gets that third pitch down, even if he still only throws it, Andrew, 10 to 12%, he's going to be exponentially better.
Yeah, no question about it. Right now, it's been him stealing a strike with the curveball or the changeup. If this can become a more, exaggerated component of the repertoire, it could be really big for him. But we got one more key to get to, and that's with one of the last late-comer arrivals here to Pirate Spring Training. Who was that, Noah?
It's a guy who, if you're going to be last up, you better be this guy. I think he's earned the right to show up a little late. That's Andrew McCutchen. Not that he was late. He showed up the day where you're supposed to report. Everyone else kind of just showed up a little early. But Andrew McCutchen, I think he's the one guy who can get away with showing up on actual report day. So he arrived today. No field action for him. But, I asked him about this, and I think it's worth noting. This is his first spring training where he's not coming back from any sort of injury. And granted, he had his bumps and bruises last year, and he saw some time on the IL, but, he ended the season healthy enough to play, I should say.
Right.
And he talked about how that changes your offseason when you're not rehabbing an Achilles or whatever other injury that you're rehabbing, but rather just upkeeping the entire body as a whole. You're able to work on actual baseball stuff, and he mentioned that that's something that he has going for him that's in his corner this spring that hasn't been the case in the last couple.
Yeah, absolutely. And the body itself looks great, too.
Yeah.
I think that's noteworthy, too. It's one thing to be coming off of injuries, but, he's credited it in the past at Pirates Fest, said it again today. The Peloton's working out great for him. He does look like he's physically in a good spot, which is noteworthy just because when you are battling some of those lower body injuries, like McCutchen has for the last few years and really for, the better part of his career, it feels like now. That's noteworthy. The guy's in good shape. Obviously, it's spring, best shape of your lifetime, but it's noteworthy to be in that kind of a spot here as we're still 6 weeks away from games starting up.
It's interesting that, the two guys we spoke with today, they are the two elder statesmen of the team, guys who have been around the game for a while, guys who have a presence in the clubhouse, but a very different presence between the two of them. And I think you kind of need that. You need the guy who's down to business. Let's get down to brass tacks. I'm here to win. I want to bring that intensity, that competitive nature. And then you have Kutch, who's chill. Yeah. Hey man, we're gonna be all right. He can build you up. He can give you the confidence. Tell you, hey man, I've been through slumps too. I've been through injuries too. I can let you know that if you still check these boxes, you're gonna be okay. And I think they have a yin and a yang there with Pham and McCutchen.
Yeah, and not to mention too with the guys who are already here, right? The young guys who are here, like a Paul Skenes, who's going to take on more of an enhanced leadership role. Mitch Keller, who's been around the block for a little bit with the Pirates. I think the leadership group, there were certainly some concerns about it coming into this year, especially after last year you had some guys who were brought in on one-year deals. You could talk about a Martin Perez, a Marco Gonzalez, a Yasmani Grandal. I think right now the leadership group, I think it's in a fine spot. That's the least of the Pirates' concerns. There's certainly other ones, but I think leadership-wise, they're in a pretty good spot.
That's all we got for today. Keep following along throughout all of spring training for our coverage here in 2025. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and be sure to also just check out our work at post-gazette.com. He's Andrew Destin. I'm Noah Hiles. That's all we got for today. We'll see you back here again on the Post-Gazette Pirates YouTube channel.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.